Welcome to round number 3 of the 21-hole salute presented by Dynamic Discs, held on Sunday morning, July 26th at R.L. Smith Disc Golf Course in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is also part 3 of a collaboration between Final Round Radio and Jomez Productions. My name's Andy Go of QC Independent Radio. I'm joined by Kevin Burgess of Another Round Disc Golf, or KB as we like to call him, Kevin Keith of the Disc Golf Network, or K Squared, and we also have a very special guest, Philo Brathwaite, who came into this round tied with Ken Tyburski for the lead at 13 under. Philo, tell us a little bit about your mentality coming into round 3.
Round 3, is all about staying in the hunt, trying to stay in the moment, keep up with the pack or get ahead of the pack. I had a pretty solid round the second round. Felt like I had figured out my lines and figured out what disc I wanted to throw, and it was really just about executing the same plays again.
You shot a hot round of 57 in that second round to get you on the top of the leader card. KB, K Squared, tell us a little bit about the atmosphere coming into round number 3 on Sunday morning.
Man, it was the start of the round was pretty good, comfortable-wise. It was temperature-wise, it was about 85 degrees or so, but it was pretty sticky out there early morning.
Yeah, it was crazy because people are coming in. They're not worried about a players' meeting. They had their eyes on the prize. They knew what they wanted to get accomplished on that third round. And not to mention, there were a couple of pretty dope stories going into the third round.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see a lot of storylines that came into play that are going to have an effect on the field here in round number 3. So let's get started here with hole number 1, I should say, which is a 358 par 3. It's a left hook hole, which you can reach with a good hyzer. Has a sharp drop off to the left and a guardian tree right in the middle of the fairway. KB, K Squared, what do you think about this hole?
Oh, it's a great starting hole. Oh,
it's a fantastic starting hole, but, man, I have to ask, Philo, how did you guys figure this thing out? This is a beast of a shot.
Well, it's a hyzer. If you're right-handed, the disc should be finishing to the left anyway, so it's really about just keeping the height right and keeping it tight in the window. You can see there I was a little bit wide getting into the hole. I needed to cut the angle a little tighter so the disc would finish to the inside where the basket is.
And here's Ken Tyburski from Blair, Virginia with his tee shot. It goes right down the middle of the fairway, catches a nice skip there, and that rolls.
That's how you play the hole,
yeah,
right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the tee shot that you want. He'll have about a 50-footer there for birdie.
It's interesting to see all these guys going wide on this hole. A lot of times locals will take a really overstable mid-range down the left side of that tree.
That's Lance Brown, who comes into the round at 121 or 11 under, 2 strokes behind the lead. And here's 2013 champion Hunter Todd with his tee shot as well. And he puts it out wide.
I really like that line. That's the line that I was looking for, tight and inside, but apparently he didn't have enough pace on it to get around the corner.
Hey, KB, you throw mostly flake. I saw Charlie Coleman throwing a really fast flake out there and turned over. I think that was his Avenger SS or a Surge SS or something like that.
That's a horrible idea. If you have any kind of backhand at all, even if it's a bad one, you need to be throwing backhand and finishing correctly on that hole.
Philo with the upshot, uphill, probably about 80 or 90 feet to get up there, and of course the downhill putt coming after that.
Wow, could you even see over the mound of earth in front of you?
I think I could barely see the top of the band of the basket, and that's usually the trick when you're putting up and over something is to throw it hard enough, and apparently I came up a little bit short, left myself with some work.
We're lucky Lance didn't get a roll away there. Sometimes you get a roll away on hole 1.
And here you go.
Oh, no.
Oh, and right on time.
Right on time.
And
good job, KB. That was you.
We haven't seen this before. Wow.
That was, and that's the danger of putting on this basket. It's a tough first hole to start on because even if you put yourself in a good position, if you catch that death roll, as we see with Philo, you just miss a couple of, it's easy to lose a couple strokes there.
Right away, Ken's got to be feeling good.
Let's call that 3 strokes because Mr. Tyburski gets his 2 there.
Oh, yeah, he did convert with that.
So laying it in for a 5.
Where's your mentality at this point right now?
I was pretty frustrated. I thought that should have been a pretty easy tap in for par. That's something I normally make, pretty routine putt. I just didn't get the apex right on the way out.
It's probably your caddy's fault over here.
That might be true. I had the luxury and the bad advice on on this hole. So
Well, I mean, sometimes, maybe the nerves are, raging, but I think for me it was on the other end of the spectrum. Maybe I was just a little too relaxed.
And we get a couple
Charlie
of
gets his
tap-ins
four
here
there.
to close out hole number 1. So we'll move on to the second hole, 230 feet, par 3. Very close uphill, or a very sharp uphill angle, and of course the Mando on the right, which obviously forces some wide shots. Here is Tyburski off the tee, goes for the backhand, Anheuser gets it up. Not quite high enough there, but he is looking at a clear shot.
Looks like he tried to get a rock up there.
no, I'm pretty sure it was an XL. He was throwing all discraft for this round, and he seems to really like that XL turnover.
That's a great shot.
Hunter Todd with another backhand Anheuser. Here is Lance Brown opting for the same line as well. Gets it up high, but again, it's pretty short.
Not bad. That looked pretty good. He's in range.
I'd like to be there.
This is
Forehand
one
flush.
heck of a shot.
And he parks it. Wow,
That
look
blew my
at
mind.
that. That was an unbelievable shot there.
That looks,
from
that
Charlie
looks like
Coleman.
that's about to be parked. Yep.
Yo, Philo, were you ace running that?
In my mind I am, because it's uphill, so there's no reason not to be aggressive up towards the basket.
Tyburski misses his birdie
That's
putt
not the
there.
easiest putt in the world there, though. Look at that slope.
Well, coming off those last 2 rounds, Tyburski was hitting pretty much every putt. So
See, I told you that was in his range.
Yeah.
Lance Brown with a nice deuce there. And Hunter Todd lines up his
bang.
deuce as well. Hunter Todd knows just a little
tap-ins
something
here.
about this course, being the champion of this tournament 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, he absolutely destroyed the field. KB, how many strokes did he win by a couple years ago?
I don't care who was playing that year. If it was Macbeth or, Philo, if it was you that year, he would have just swept everyone. I think he shot on a very similar layout, shot a 31 down. So, but yeah, here we are looking at hole 3. Hole 3 is like a little downhill touch shot.
265 feet, par 3. It's a great hole because you really have 3 different angles at it. You can go the hyzer route like Hunter Todd does here. Just put it out, something nice and overstable, let it fall straight to the pin. He's a little bit short, but that's
40 foot.
That's about a 40-foot putt. You also have Lance Brown going with the forehand route. So you're seeing these players take a couple of different options here, which is really the mark of a
should be
good
a
disc
2.
golf hole.
What was the wind like out here?
There's a little bit of breeze for the right-handed player. These guys are throwing against the breeze, so you would think the wind's going to stall it out on the way down, slam it down, especially with that sharp angle.
You're throwing a rock here, I assume?
I'm throwing a Firebird. I tried to keep it a little bit lower because of the wind, so I didn't get blown away.
And
Just
that-
right behind the basket.
That was
That's about
almost
circle's
in.
edge.
So this is now 3 times in a row. You were like almost in the exact same spot.
And look, now
We just saw every shot on this
we,
hole, too.
that's exactly right. Tyburski throws the forehand or the thumper route there, catches like a mean roll.
That's not that mean. That's like a 26
Yeah, that's a
footer.
good stop.
Well,
That's
it
a
got
real
stopped
good
by
stop.
the bush, but if that bush wasn't there, he might have been looking at something longer.
I guess those are the breaks that you get.
It is golf, and anything can happen. Hunter Todd does not connect on his birdie putt, so he'll tap in for a 3. Now Charlie Coleman lines up his birdie
Cheating
putt.
Charlie
and gets
splashes
it
left.
just on the outside of the chains there to the left. He'll have to settle for a 3 as well.
That's funny. I thought he 2'd this hole. At least that's what the scorecard said. Charlie was a funny guy, though. He's a good guy. He was fun to play with.
Philo now.
Pretty straightforward here, Philo.
Kind of. It was a straddle, Had to keep the weight out on the outside foot and had a little bit of limbs hanging out. Tell by the attitude I'm still a little frustrated from that first hole, but I never give up. Just keep on pushing,
And
Ken looks like he has the same putt.
A little bit closer.
he goes with a little, flick putt there and catches the chastity belt,
That's
bounces
one
off
of
the
the
rim.
few
He'll take a
putts
3
he
as
missed
well.
all tournament. I mean, that guy's putter was on point.
Lance finishes out with a great 2 there, right in the middle of the chains. And we will move on to hole number 4. Hole number 4 is 420 feet downhill, a par 3. It's a hole where you definitely have to, if you have the big arm and you can get an accurate shot, you can go downhill, but you have to be careful of the creek that runs to the right side of this hole that is OB. and of course all the woods that are to the left.
If you're going to miss, where he just missed is usually where you want to be. Definitely to the left.
Not in the waters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not only would you be on the water on the right side, but you're going to be jailed, and you're going to have a really tough approach shot.
And Philo, I'm assuming you throw a rock here on that
Yeah,
shot.
I was aiming high into the left corner window and just pulled over on it just a little bit too much. I think my rock was becoming a little bit more understable as the weekend went along too, so that didn't help.
Yeah, I feel like you're not used to hitting as many trees.
This
As
is
Hunter
this
Todd
course
ends up
has.
on the left side.
this is a if you get a 3, it's a success. I don't care what level player you are. I would assume that taking a 3 felt pretty good on this hole if that's what you got.
Well, I think I birdied it the first round. I filleted the drive right down the pipe and cast about a 38-footer. So, I mean, it's doable with a rock. I mean, it should be for, most of us pro players pretty manageable to get a putt at it.
And that looks like it's Ken Tyburski with his upshot. He's probably just inside the circle. And it looks like we got a
The
forehand
fastest
round.
player in the game, Charlie.
Charlie
Blinking
Coleman.
out there.
He
What,
puts it
is
just
his
past
mouth
the basket.
faster or is his play faster?
I don't know. The guy wastes no time. He doesn't really. He has his shot made up as soon as he gets behind his disc and it's out of his hand.
And this is Philo. The jump putt, which just catches the edge of the.
Those are the kind
the
of breaks
ridge.
that you get, too.
If it was a softer day, we hadn't gotten much rain here lately. Any kind of rain on this course within the last 4 days, and anything sticks on that green. So I've never seen a green that fast here on 4.
Well, how about that?
So Philo takes the bogey on that hole, and we've got Ken knocking down the 3 or the 4 on that.
I think it was a 3.
That was a 3. Charlie.
Yeah, you're
finishes
right.
off.
No time.
Yeah, I think that was the second longest putt he took all weekend. Lance Brown never having his shirt untucked. He was focused.
Where's he from again?
Was it Blair? I believe it is.
Yeah.
Blair.
That's
Blair,
right.
Virginia.
Oh, that's
Yes.
Ken.
I thought that's where
It's
Ken's
Ken.
from.
Oh,
That's
I thought
where
that's
Ken's
who you were
from.
talking about.
No.
All right, we're going to move right on into hole number 5. 535 feet, par 4. This is where the course gets really tricky. There's a creek that runs all along the left edge and even across the fairway towards the basket. That is OB.
That should be a good shot right there.
A great route there by Lance Brown. The forehand route, that's right about where you want to be. Stays clear of the OB. Hunter Todd also going with the forehand route as well.
It's a tough hole. There's OB on the left. Early right. That's a forced layup over there if
And
you get too right.
that's where Hunter Todd finds himself at.
Pretty much everyone's aiming just left of this tree.
Charlie Coleman.
Or inside,
Goes
just
with
like
the
Inside?
that.
as well.
Yeah,
It has a
inside
little bit
usually-
too much of a finish, though.
Well, if you can flex it out around the outside, you can get it, but that's obviously a very difficult
Tyburski's
shot.
going for the mid-range and just lay up around that tree, but
But
he
the-
catches the edge, obviously, there. And you don't see me doing this too often off the tee pad, but
Man, yeah, no kidding. That is rare.
yeah, that's
Philo
really the
with
shot on
forehand.
the course for this hole. Is
It
you
is.
got to
And what'd
get
you
around
throw
that
on
corner.
that,
I
Philo?
threw a destroyer. I mean, I don't really throw sidearms far, but
You're trying to miss that on the left side of that tree.
I was
think.
trying to get to the left side, and I didn't quite get there.
Tyburski skating around that OB
I thought this
line
guy's
to
gonna
the
be
left,
playing
and
good
we'll
on
have
this
to
round.
see
Right?
if that's OB or not.
You
Well,
can see him almost holding his head.
I don't want to put out any special surprises, but that guy got some pretty healthy, love in the luck direction.
And that's a tough break there on that second shot for you, Philo. And
Yeah, I was really trying to get it up there towards the basket.
Oh, Lance,
that
what
was
shot.
beautiful shot.
The
by Lance
rollaway
Brown.
potential on what Lance just did was huge, too.
And of course, on this hole too, there's that creek that runs probably about 50 feet right in front of the basket, and it just splits off, and it splits the fairway right there in front of the basket.
Try to just go OB there.
Charlie looked like he may have gone OB. Let's see what happens.
That's the shot I was looking for on my
Philo.
second.
Great Anheuser.
Well, that looked
once
almost
again, it
exactly
goes
like
right to
your
the center.
second round shot, Philo.
Yep.
Here's a forehand by Tyburski.
That's a way to save a
Gets
par
the
right there.
skips
Gets
right
up
up to
there
the
for-
basket,
Yep.
and he'll be tapping in for par.
Looks like both Tyburski and Coleman managed to stay in bounds just by the skin of their teeth.
And KB, just like you said, that hole number 3 or hole number 4, a 3 on that is a great disc golf feat. A 4 on this hole
The 4
is
is good.
equally a good.
Absolutely, that's a solid score. If you veer off the fairway, you're playing for 4 instantly.
Were there any birdies on the weekend on this hole?
I got it once, I believe.
Nice.
Actually, I
There are
think he got
definitely
it
birdies
twice.
on the
There's
field.
quite a few.
There are
There's a
birdies on the
few?
field.
Okay.
But it's arguable that this is the toughest hole on the course.
I can see that as well.
This course, too, if you get through that front 9, that back 9 is a lot more forgiving. So higher scores here on the front.
Philo taps in, and we're going to move on to hole number 6, which is 276 feet, par 3. It is a sharp right-hand hole, a good hole for forehand players. And if you can get a nice flick, skip off the ground, you can be at the basket looking for your deuce. And that is the shot that Lance Brown plays. Looks like he catches a little early tree.
Still center cut there. Looks like
It's a tough one. You can't see the basket and you can't see those late trees. All you see are those ones right there on the right side, and then after that, it's you're just praying you don't tap anything.
And you kind of want to land with a little bit less energy because although it's downhill, it slopes back left, and your disc should be fading up the hill. For whatever reason, there's lots of rollaways that come out on this hole.
Another
I
rare
just didn't
flick.
commit to the line there. I knew it as soon as I let it go. That was too early.
And Coleman goes with the forehand line as well. So the forehand is definitely the way to approach the
Seems to
hole
like it.
as far as the lead card goes. Philo with another flick. So we are seeing a record number of flicks here from Philo.
Well, Philo went early right as opposed to missing it straight, so he didn't get the line early. So that's
like
what kind of doomed him on that hole.
Looks like you busted out the Firebird again. Huh?
Yeah, I tossed another little upshot with the Firebird. I cut it a little bit, I threw it a little wide rather than cutting it tight, trying to finish towards the basket and hit some more trees. Now I got a long putt for 3.
Here's Hunter Todd for his 2. Long putt, probably about 60 feet. Goes right by the basket. But
He's really smooth in that range. I really like his technique. Very smooth. The disc stays very flat.
and right in the middle
Talk
of
about
the
a really smooth putt.
That's
I
how
really
it's done.
needed that.
You needed that, yeah.
You might see my body language start changing a little bit after this. I've been kind of walking around frumpy and pissed off, but I'm going to start turning things around here.
When you hit those putts, that kind of tends to have that effect, and Lance cannot connect on the 2.
That's a dangerous putt, what he just putted, too. If he misses
Yeah,
his
I'm
basket.
kind of confused why he would take a jump putt downhill so short.
There is a very steep downhill drop off after that tree there that Charlie just putted by, and yeah, if you catch that, and that ground is hard, and you can catch skips very easily in that area. But
Hunter looks like, going back to Philo, what you said, he looks like he really loads up on that back foot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of putting is loading up the power to the back leg and transferring it, through the hips and out through the arm.
we're going to move on into hole number 7, 356 feet, par 3, which, again, runs parallel to that creek that we saw on hole number 4. And this is a tough hole right here. You've got to shape it around. You've got to flex the
That's a
shot
pretty
around.
tasty shot right there. He threw that exactly the way I had visioned it in my mind in practice. A low, hard, hyzer flip with a fast disc towards the left side and just missed that pole on the left, and it should flex back towards the basket up the hill.
Right.
That was clean, very clean.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the shot you want to play, and of course you got to deal with the out of bounds on
And
Ooh.
Mr. Tyburski,
which
Oh, my God.
look at that love.
that is tree love.
That's
Is
a
that not
lot
tree
of
love?
love.
Welcome to
I've
North
actually
Carolina.
got that tree love.
Yeah,
I
but
had
see,
the same idea as
like
Lance,
it's
but
turning
I just
over.
cut it a little early there. You see, I didn't get around the left side of the pole, so I didn't make it up the middle of the fairway.
Looks like you threw something real fast. So
Yeah, that was a
destroyed it.
destroyer. I threw a destroyer. I meant to get it about 15 feet further to the left, and
That's
that
a
would
great
have hooked
shot
up
right
right
there.
on
That's
time.
Good shot by Charlie. He turns
He
it
played-
over with a forehand and just catches a little bit of tree.
very safe play.
Comes up a little short.
And again, this green here is a monster because it's about 50 or about 30 feet above where
That's a
this
great
fairway
break
is.
right there. That could have easily caught an edge and rolled away, but it just dug right in.
I mean, this hole, not a rollaway can cost you more than one stroke.
Oh,
here.
absolutely. The first round, I had a birdie putt for 2 from just to the left of that tree off to the basket there. Went through every chain, came out the back, bounced off the rim, rolled back to me, did it again, bounced off the basket, came back. So that's a great putt right there that Hunter just banged right there. That was a great one. Solid.
And of course, Philo going for your 3 right there. But of course, it's tough to go for it on that second shot without putting your disc at risk for that rollaway. And that's probably the best thing you could say was if you can get out of this hole without that rollaway, then you did pretty well.
A little,
Yeah,
a little close.
You can't even call this a green, really. It's just
It's
a
a hill.
That's
It's a
actually
hill.
that's the 1-year plan, is to put a little terrace on there for coming up here pretty soon. So in the next year, you'll probably see a nice actual green on the side.
Well, thank you, Charlotte Disc Golf Club.
Moving on in to hole number 8. It's 247 feet, par 3. Downhill, quick hook to the left, usually a very stable mid-range or putter shot. And, of course, you also have to deal with that creek that's along the right as well, but definitely a birdieable hole, especially for players on the lead card here.
Hit the gap.
Oh, yeah, this is a cool hole. I like this one.
You're almost throwing right at the creek.
You have to throw at the creek with generally what I try to do is have something overstable that exactly
Absolutely.
that like that shot right there.
That's it, exactly. You just want to throw like an overstable mid-range and just get it right around this tree right there and just drop out the sky. That's it right there.
You got that generous.
It's really like a quarter throw, a half throw, and you're just letting the disc do the work for you.
And the forehand route here by Charlie Coleman.
And he macks a tree and stays safe.
And that's probably why you don't throw the forehand route on this hole. This is even for players who are predominantly forehand players.
Almost made it through the.
This is definitely a backhand hole that most players should be able to reach.
Yeah, Hunter's going to end up getting a 3 on this one probably.
Yeah, he
It's a
stays
big
safe
hand
as well.
Yep. And, of course, there's out of bounds all the way to the right of where the players are.
I like how smooth his action is. And, nice safe run there from 70 or 80
Yeah,
feet away.
believe it or not, he wins putting league a lot here in Charlotte.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. The guy's got a great flow. Little 27, 28 footer.
For the deuce.
Nice putt.
It's very smooth.
Trying to turn things around
And
here.
that's the range in your putting game where you just have to take care of business right outside the circle.
Absolutely. Just inside the circle. I mean, you're going to see more of those putts than anything else on the golf course, so you got to be smooth with those.
And that's, I mean, Philo, would you say in your experience that that's really what kind of separates some of the best golfers from, the more
I tell you what,
standard
man,
golfers?
there's rounds where Paul McBeth won't miss a putt from inside the circle, and that's really where he's picking up most of his strokes. It's really not off the tee pad or on the second shots. It's on the putting green.
He's not taking big numbers.
He's not taking, he's not 3-putting. He's not 2-putting, rarely, I mean.
Hole number 9, 394 feet, par 4. This is one of the few holes on the course where you can, relatively speaking, open up a little bit off the tee pad. You have to get it down there nice and long, and there is a Mando that's all the way at the end, probably about 375 feet.
Oh, that
you
looks
have to deal
perfect.
with. And that is exactly the shot that you want to throw. A nice
Pretty
long
much.
straight hyzer. Let it skip up there. And then you'll be looking uphill for the 3.
I kept trying to cut a T-bird a little bit further. You see Tyburski there, he threw a mid-range, and I was like, I'm going to try for a little bit more distance, but you don't really need that, actually. After a couple rounds of playing there, a good stable mid-range will do you.
Now, for you guys with these big arms, is it dangerous to go that long? Is it pretty easy to go long on this hole?
It's easy to go long. Once if you throw anything that has some glide to it, if it keeps cruising, you're going to be in that
again, you're
behind
right.
the fairway.
Yeah. Speaking of going too long, we just saw Coleman just launch one.
Yeah.
Looks like
Again, why would you throw a sidearm on a hole with a hill that's slanting to the right?
Exactly.
And the fairway turns to the left.
There's OB down there to the right. It's just, again, another hole that
He
really
was telling
forces
me
you to throw
he was
back
telling
in.
me there that he just really didn't trust his backhand. That's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, but still, even if you throw a bad backhand,
There's that Mando that we were talking about. Hunter
That's a
Todd
clean
splits
shot
it
right
very
there.
nicely from one knee. I mean,
Here I
that's
am
some
throwing
talent.
another sidearm. Oh, here we go.
welcome
That
to
tells
Charlotte.
us something about this
All
course.
right, I got up there.
Exactly, K squared. This is a course that, even though we're talking about 2 holes in straight that forces you to throw backhand, this is a course that forces you to throw one way or the other.
See, going long, I think you still have a look at it. Though.
Here's Lance
That's some
Brown.
awkward footing because you're still throwing pretty steep uphill. The ground's kind of squishy down
This
there.
is the spot you want to be right here, though.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty
clean
much
look
perfect.
for
He took a
first.
run
Got it.
at it.
Oh,
Oh,
just
yeah, that's
on
right.
the
He almost did
basket.
eagle that. I forgot that.
Holy,
Yeah.
And that roll away just left him right there. How about that?
that's a good 3 there.
It's like all the stars were aligning for Ken right there. Great.
Oh.
Downhill. That's a tough place to be
Uh-oh.
putting because you're going back down the hill now, and it's going to be another.
This is
upshot.
real time, I feel like. He just ran to the lie and just putted.
He does putt that fast, and he definitely went really aggressive on
Lance
that
looking
death putt.
smooth with that 25er up the hill, no problem. Tyburski with an easy tap in for his 3.
Charlie, man, he took a rough score. It's not shaping up to be a good round for him here.
Yeah, that's one of those cases you really need to be able to diversify your game and shoot both backhand and forehand.
We're going to move on to hole number 10, 328 feet, par 3, a straight hole, a very straight fairway, but of course you do have to play uphill over the initial hill. That's probably about 50 or 60 feet in front of you, and then the path goes downhill after that. So, Philo, what's the mentality going into this hole?
The first couple of times I played it, there was
Another
only 2
lucky
shots
break.
that really, there we go again. I have nothing to say about that. When I came into this hole, I was thinking understable, hyzer flip,
That's about right.
and just penetrate up the middle and let the disc do that
Something
exactly.
like that.
And that
Just
looks
like that.
absolutely perfect.
And that might have been a textbook example
It's
of
hard
how
to-
you throw it.
Hard to
328
tell.
with a rock.
Yeah, that's for rock, beat up rock.
Hard to tell how good of a shot that is on video, but that was an amazing throw.
Exactly, because the elevation change really doesn't.
Oh, I remember
so
that.
What
good.
just happened there?
Oh my gosh! I asked him who did he pray to after that happened.
Coleman goes,
Did he
he
skip
goes
off
to
the
a
ground?
Christian college. He skipped off a tree on the forehand.
100 Todd
Yeah,
with
he
a
hit the
forehand
second
out
tree
here.
after the hill, and it macked him right up there for a 25-footer.
Actually,
And
this
another
is a
forehand
very
by
good
Coleman.
forehand hole.
He hit that tree basically, but it straightened him out instead of kicking him into the woods.
Exact KB, I'm sure you know, is if you can flex this shot out, then you have a chance at having it come back to you.
Yeah, I got
on
an ace,
forehand.
but didn't see Sports Center on this hole.
Wow. After 2 tough shots, that's a pretty tough break.
And then I'll just throw it in.
Oh, what a shot!
Confidence.
I was
For
actually
the
really
deuce
proud of him
there,
because
Charlie
he didn't give up
Coleman.
on the hole. A lot of people, that happens to them, and then they just lay it up and give up on it. But he kept going. I like that. That's good moxie right there. I can appreciate that.
Here's Tyburski from probably about
Oh.
60 feet.
Bang! Oh, not quite.
Passed it to
That's
the
what seemed
right.
to be happening every other time he put.
Hunter Todd with his putt
That's
and
a
just
bad-
cleanly
Super smooth. He
nails
walked
the
up.
middle
Look
of
at
the
look at that
chain.
slow walk.
Yeah, I got this. He
He knew it was
He
going
wants
in before he even
everybody-
putted
You
it.
got to make sure everybody sees you when you're going to pick your disc out of the chain.
Lance, after the nice kick off the tree, little 26, 27-footer, no problem.
Yeah, and this kid is only, 20, 21 years old, and he's hooping pretty well out here.
Man, getting those
And of
birdies.
course, Philo with the deuce on that hole after a very beautiful tee shot there. So strong rounds here in the front 9. We're going to take a quick break here on the round 3 of the 21-hole salute with Final Round Radio and Jomez Productions. We'll be back with the final 8 holes, or the final 13 holes. 13 holes, of course. It's
Bad math
21
here.
hole salute.
Horrible.
And we'll be back with the second part in just a moment.
Yes!